It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and we're taking a look at the movies of September 28th, 2001. We only got 3 movies to look at today, so let's go ahead and jump right on into it. We'll start off with the biggest new release of the weekend, Michael Douglas in the psychological thriller, Don't Say a Word.
Come on, let's join the downhill race.
I heard that.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Jesse, come on, breakfast is getting cold.
We have your daughter.
Daddy.
You have a patient. She has a 6-digit number in her head. I need that number. You need your daughter back. Michael Douglas.
Is it a telephone number?
No.
Is it a place?
Nope.
And they're gonna kill her. What is it? No!
Don't say a word.
I'll never tell.
Rated R. September 28th, only in theater.
So in Don't Say a Word, you have a group of thieves that steal a rare gem, but in the process, 2 of the men double-cross the leader of the thieving group and take off with the precious stone. Now, 10 years have passed, and a prominent psychiatrist, played by Michael Douglas, is invited to an exam a disturbed young woman named Elizabeth, played by Brittany Murphy. Patrick immediately kidnaps Nathan's daughter, forcing Nathan to attempt to get Elizabeth to reveal a secret number, which will ultimately lead Patrick to the whereabouts of the precious gem that has eluded him. And, yeah, another one of those movies here that was affected by the September 11th attacks, where the movie came out 3 weeks after September 11th, and filmmakers had to basically decide should they delay the movie or try to edit the movie together. So, because this takes place in New York City, and of course you have to get rid of the shots of the World Trade Center. But now they basically just decided to edit the film altogether. They got rid of a lot of the shots of the World Trade Center, such as the opening shot of the movie, which now is basically Brooklyn. And on one hand, yeah, I get why they did it, because of obviously what had just happened. But I don't know. Getting rid of the World Trade Center basically kind of except for the fact that it never really existed to begin with. But again, I got why they did it, because of the stuff that happened before. I just don't think it was a good. Personally, I don't think it was a really good move in the long run. Because unfortunately, with a lot of movies that came before and after the September 11th attacks and TV shows, like the Simpsons episode where they went to New York City, and a good chunk of it takes place in the World Trade Center, that was banned from syndication for a long period of time. And then Home Alone 2, they took out the World Trade Center bit for various different edits of the movie, including the most recent one in Freeform. But again, I get why they did it, for obvious reasons. But I don't know. Like, to me, doing it in this movie in particular, I don't know. I don't think it really would have affected the movie either way, shape, or form if it took place before the events of September 11th or afterward. But as far as the movie itself goes, it's kind of a mediocre movie, but it has the potential to be something really, really good. The performances really do carry it. Like, Michael Douglas, I think, is very good in the movie, especially Brittany Murphy. I thought Brittany Murphy really commanded the role of this very well, playing the woman that he has to investigate in order to figure out where this jewel is that they're trying to find. And I thought she was very good in the movie. It showed the potential of what she could be as an actress, and she was shown in a couple of other movies down the road. Some not so great, but we'll get to those ones eventually. But she was pretty good in the movie too. I thought the performances overall did carry the movie to a level where I could say that it did work when it needed to. The story, I think, is kind of generic, and the big twist that happens basically kind of figures out to be what you expect it to be. I mean, you can pretty much tell where's it going to go, and it doesn't really lead itself into anything too spectacular or anything too intriguing to give it its own unique edge to it. I think the only thing that really does give it the unique edge is the performance by Brittany Murphy, which I think really is the true centerpiece of the movie. I think if that didn't work altogether, this thing would just crater apart at the seams almost immediately. But for what it is, I think it is an overall enjoyable film for what it is. I think it is it's a very enjoyable film, mostly because of the performances, not the mystery alone. It's kind of generic overall. It does run a little bit too long, but I think you can enjoy the performances enough to really get a sense of what the movie was trying to accomplish here. And I think that was the best thing about the film in general, are the performances. The story itself, kind of been there, done that, but you can let it slide with the performances being as good as they are. I think that's the best reason to watch the film. For a one-time watch, I'd say definitely check it out, but you're not really going to want to watch it again after the first time, honestly. But that's just my take on that one. So that's Don't Say a Word. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie we have here, and that is Ben Stiller in Zoolander.
Most famous supermodel on the planet. Now,
The Prime Minister must be eliminated.
he'll be called upon to save the day.
We need your help.
He just won't be able to spell it.
D-A-I-Y-E.
Friday. Meet the new face
They're breakdance fighting.
of danger. Ben Stiller.
If you find the files, you can stop them.
They're in the computer.
They're in the computer?
Zoolander. Rated PG-13. Starts Friday every...
So Zoolander was based off of a series of little segments from the VH1 Fashion Awards in 1996 and 97, and featured Ben Stiller as this dim-witted supermodel, and it was basically the last movie that they did with it's the last movie that Paramount did with the involvement of Village Roadshow Pictures, who went exclusively in Warner Brothers after this. They also worked on Don't Say a Word just before this, but in the film, top people in the fashion industry, including Mugatu, played by Will Ferrell, and Derek's agent, played by Jerry Stiller, are hired by other executives to assassinate the Prime Minister of Malaysia, who will pass progressive laws that would harm their business. The two plan to brainwash Zoolander into killing him. Meanwhile, Zoolander has several personal and career issues, including declining popularity, disappointment in his career choices with his family, and trying to find his true purpose when he suspects of not being a model. Through much research, there's a journalist played by Ben Stiller's wife, Christine Taylor, who becomes aware of the planned assassination and informs Derek about it. After he reconciles with the competing male model, played by Owen Wilson, the three try to stop the Prime Minister's assassination from happening. So yeah, basically, it's trying to be a new Austin Powers, and it was the first comedy to open up after September 11th, so that kind of, needless to say, that kind of dinged the movie's box office potential back then because of what happened. In fact, this is another one of those movies like Don't Say a Word, where you had to have Ben Stiller basically made the decision to digitally remove any backgrounds that originally contained the two Twin Towers in the background skyline. And he defended his decision at the time to do that, and he did what he thought was appropriate at the time, which is amusing because when the movie The World Trade Center came out with Oliver Stone directing it, you could see a poster of Zoolander in the background as the plane is about to hit the towers. And the Twin Towers actually were later restored in the regular Blu-ray edition that came out about 15 years later. But Zoolander was one of those movies that everybody seems to really like, everybody really gets involved in, but I don't know. For me personally, it didn't really help. It's one of those movies that didn't really, it didn't really have that lasting impact with me. I thought it was funny at times. I always watch that movie thinking I'm going to find the one time where I'm going to really, really love this movie, and I just can't really find it, man. But there's definitely times when the movie can be very funny. There are a lot of silly, over-the-top moments. I mean, the scene where Derek's party is basically going around town with Wake You Up Before You Go, and they all die in a gas explosion. But, I mean, that's funny stuff right there. It's dark humor. That I like me some dark humor, but in this particular case, it's not all over the place, and I wish it kind of was, because I think that really carried my appreciation for this movie a little bit more. But honestly, the jokes are very hit and miss for me. It's not really that funny when it all the way through. Austin Powers at least has a good gimmick to it that makes it very funny throughout the course of the movie. It knows it's not supposed to take itself too seriously. It knows it's a comedy, but in this movie's case, I don't know. It just didn't really do it for me personally. I just thought it kind of dragged on a little bit too long. Plus, it dragged on a little bit too long. Even at 90 minutes, it feels like it drags on way too long, and I didn't really get the full investment and the overall enjoyment of it that I think a lot of people really wish they could have gotten. Really wish they did get with it, because a lot of people do like this movie. I don't know. Me personally, I just kind of like, it's funny at times, but not enough for me to say it's a movie that I recommend. Not a bad movie, but certainly not as good as everyone makes it out to be. This is one that I always go into it thinking, this is going to be the one time I'm going to find the golden nugget about this movie, and it's just like, nope, never really do. And so that's Zoolander. So let's go ahead and move on to our last movie, which is Anthony Hopkins in Heart of Atlantis.
On September 28th, look in my eyes. On this quiet street, a stranger will arrive and pass his power to another. From the author of The Green Mile.
Find the Queen of Hearts.
And the director of Shine.
Tell me what you see.
This one here.
Anthony Hopkins. Hearts in Atlantis. Rated PG-13. Sneak preview this Friday and Saturday starts September 28th.
Or Hearts in Atlantis, whatever title you want to go with here, but this is a gentle, innocent movie about the reflections of an aging man played by David Morse, who returns to his hometown after the death of his best friend. Memories of life at age 11 flood back, as it was a magical time for him that changed his life. Three 11-year-old children, played by Anton Yelchin, Mika Buram, and Will Rothhar, share their lives. Carol and Bobby have a special affection for one another, including sharing a kiss by which all of this will be measured. Bobby lives with his mother Liz, played by Hope Davis, a bitter, vain woman who looks for pleasure for herself without sharing much with her son. Into the lives comes a mysterious new boarder, played by Anthony Hopkins, who befriends the boy but generates distrust from his mother. As time passes, the man and the boy share confidences and special powers are revealed. The man wants the boy to be on the lookout for the low man in yellow clothes who are seeking him, and the two share a summer adventure and come to love one another before the inevitable happens. A confrontation with the school bully also changes everyone. So this is based off of a series of stories by Stephen King that was part of a novella of his called Hearts in Atlantis, and it's loosely based on the Dark Tower tie-in, Low Men in Yellow Coats, as I just said before. But William Goldman wrote this, who wrote The Green Mile, and also it's directed by Scott Hicks, who also did the movie Shine. And again, it's fine for what it is, but it really is. It's one of those movies that you could clearly tell is trying to be an Oscar bait movie, a movie that's going up for so many awards. I mean, Anthony Hopkins is at the forefront of this movie. The performances, I think, are okay overall, but it's never enough for me to really say the movie in general works because of it. It's just a movie that's just kind of like, it's fine for what it is, but again, it's not that great of a movie overall. It's definitely a lackluster film that doesn't really have a good story, but the performances, I do think, carry the load a little bit to sort of recommend it for what it is. Kind of like with Don't Say a Word, I would say that for a one-time watch it works, but other than that, though, there's no real reason to watch this again a second time, So yeah, that's Hearts in Atlantis. And so with that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. We will jump into October on the next episode with 4 movies, including Denzel Washington and Ethan Hawke in Training Day. We also have John Cusack and Kate Beckinsale in Serendipity. Steve Zahn and Lily Sobieski in the horror thriller Joyride, also with Paul Walker. And Disney's Max Keeble's Big Move. So we'll take a look at those 4 movies on the next episode. But until then, thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the place on the next page, check out the previous episode, and also don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this on this channel. So with that said, I am off, I will see you guys next time, and until then, as always, take care.